Hello, this is MusicTechHelpGuy, and welcome to this video tutorial on using region automation in Logic Pro 10. Region-based automation wasn't something that was added to Logic until version 10.1. So way back when I was creating my main Logic series, region-based automation wasn't covered because it just wasn't available yet. So I figured I'd show you guys what this is and how it compares to track automation. So the basic difference between track and region automation is that region automation is stored within an individual clip for that clip's automation. So basically, one thing you can do is once you draw automation, region automation into a clip, what you can do is you can just copy over that clip or repeat it or whatever, and that automation, whatever breakpoint envelope you draw in, will be maintained from clip to clip. So this is pretty useful. Now, in my opinion, I find using track automation more useful to make mix adjustments across a track over the timeline of an entire song. I find this more useful. So things like volume and pan and send amounts and slight plugin adjustments as well. I find those things more useful in track automation for, mix adjustments. However, I find region-based automation to be way more useful for the creative process, like changing parameters of an EQ or some other plugin in a repeating pattern like this, where I want to do something creative with the sound design of the clip by altering plugins. I mean, you can alter volume and pan too to be creative, but anything that sort of adds to the sound design of that clip, I find anything creative to be way more useful to use region-based automation. So, and again, like I said before, it's more useful when you want to apply automation to one clip and then repeat that clip over and over again as a loop. So this is what I did for this example. This session was just something I created the other day when I was working on my infected mushroom pusher tutorial, and I thought the example I had was okay. It got the job done, but it needed something to just make it sound a little bit more different. I used a lot of stock, not stock loops, but loops that I have in a loop and sample library, and it kind of sounded the same as everything else out there. So I wanted to find some way to make some of these loops sound a little bit more interesting and add to their sound design. So let me show you how I used region automation to make some of these clips a little bit more interesting. So what I'm going to do is let's start with this mini sync track down here. It sounds like this with the music kicked in. And then soloed by itself, it sounds like this. As you can see, I'm using the Valhalla Shimmer plugin on this to give it that nice ambient tone. One of my favorite things to do with Valhalla Shimmer is to play with the room size with automation on a track, and it gives it almost sort of this pitchy reverb effect. Check this out. So I find it incredibly useful to play with the room size with automation. So let's try doing this with region automation. So I'm just going to click on my track here, hit A to pull up automation. Where it says track here in blue, we're going to click on that to switch this over to region automation. And from the automation parameter menu, we'll select that. We'll go to Valhalla Shimmer, and we'll select the room size option. Another thing I want to do is these examples that I'm going to draw in, the automation I'm going to draw in, I want the automation to snap to the grid. So I'm going to go up to snap up here, and I'm going to change this over to snap automation, turn on snap automation. So now what I can do is I can take this room size, I'm just going to click on it, and notice that the automation is only created within that one clip. And what I'm going to do is draw in an automation point right here. By the way, I'm snapping to the beat of the grid. You can change this to whatever snap value you want. Create one at the end. We're going to pull it down. So let's see what that one clip sounds like now, and let's take a look at shimmer as well while it's playing. So that's really cool. We can just repeat that idea over and over again. So let's create it again here in the second clip. It starts on 0.5, and then halfway through the third measure, we create a point at the end, pull down, and there we go. Now, these two clips are different, but these two clips are identical to the first two. So really all I have to do now is drag over both of these, delete, drag over these, and hit Command R to repeat those. And now the automation is the same across all four clips. Cool. Let's see what this sounds like within the mix. Awesome. So let's try something else. Let's try another plugin. Let's try this analog poly ensemble over here. So let's maybe try to put a slight filter sweep on the front end of each chord, utilizing the low pass filter within my Waves HEQ plugin. So what I'm going to do for this is, because this is all in different clips here, I'm going to cut this up into different clips. And one quick way you can do this is you can grab your scissors tool here. And what you're going to do is when you go to cut it on the grid, you hold Option. I don't know if you can see that very well. You hold, well, yeah, the zoom tool doesn't really do anything. But if you hold Option, what it'll do is it'll create a little plus sign next to the scissors tool. When you click, it'll actually cut all of those into equal regions, so you don't have to go cut each one individually. So that's just a cool little trick. So let's hit A to pull up automation. Let's change our track automation over to region automation. And I'm going to select the parameter. I'm going to go to HEQ, and I'm going to go to the low pass frequency. So basically, right now our low pass filter, rather, is at about 16,000. So at the front end of each one of these clips, I want sort of like maybe a 2 or 3 beat filter sweep. So let's start right there. Click, and let's pull this down. Let's see what that sounds like. Yeah, let's make this a little bit longer. Let's go 4 beats. Let's go something like that. For this one, because each chord is a different chord, I'm just going to sort of go through and manually draw in this automation. So I'll do the rest of this off screen, and I'll be right back. All right, so I got all these filter sweeps drawn in on all of these regions. Let's give this a listen. And let's hear it in the mix now. Cool. One last clip I want to play around with is this effects loop over here. This is sort of like an EDM build-up effects loop. It's super stock and super boring sounding. I mean, it just sounds like it's something that's been used a million times over. Let's do something with a couple plugins to make this a little bit more interesting. The first thing I'm going to put on this effects loop is I'm going to put the tremolo plugin. So I'm going to go down to modulation, tremolo. We'll choose stereo. And kind of what I want to do with this is I want to give it a little bit of like a stuttering effect. So let's pull the phase of the right channel in phase with the left. So set them both to 0. Let's set the rate to an 1/8 note. And we'll pull the smoothing down quite a bit. And we'll pull the depth all the way down. And maybe even shorten the symmetry a bit. Let's see what this sounds like. Cool. Let's actually go ahead and put this on the second insert slot because we're going to put something else on the first one. So what I want to do is I want to automate the depth of this plugin. I don't want it to be such a hard stuttery effect the whole time. So what I'm going to do again is turn on my region automation. Go to my region parameter here. Go to tremolo. Go to depth. And then what it'll do, if I click here, is you'll see the depth's at 100%. I want the depth to sort of start like a little higher, maybe like mid-range. Let's try like in the 40s. And then sort of maybe tail down at the tail end of this to a little bit lower value. Let's try like in the 20s. There we go. And then I want it to very quickly, right when this part comes in, jump up quite a bit. So maybe come up to around the 80s. And then by the very last note, I want it to be all the way at 100%, something like that. So let's see what that sounds like. And I'll pull up the tremolo plugin so you can see how it's working along there. Cool. So it still kind of sounds kind of stock. Let's actually make this a little bit higher. And instead of just using like a pitch shift, I'm actually going to use the whammy pedal or the wham pedal within the pedal board. So I'm just going to go to amps and pedals, pedal board. And I'm going to throw that on there in stereo. And I'm going to throw the wham pedal in here. Oops, I grabbed the wrong one. There we go. And what we're going to do is we're going to play with the pedal position of the wham here. I'm going to put the mix up to 100% and the tune all the way up as well. So it's basically up 24 semitones. We'll keep that on. And what we'll do is we will create another automation lane by clicking the down the side arrow here. It'll turn into a down arrow. And then from this, we're going to go to pedal board, slot 1 wham, and go to pedal position. There we go. So now for this, we're going to keep it all the way down at 0 right here. But where the pitch shift sort of buildup starts right here, we're going to have this slowly sort of inch up toward a higher value. And so the wham pedal is going to basically detune this as it's rising. So it's basically going to sound like it's rising even more. Cool. And if we look at that with the pedal board, you'll see the wham pedal actually move up. You'll see the light probably better, but you'll see the light move up. Let's not put this so high though. Let's put this a little bit lower. Let's try around 0.65-ish. There we go. Let's try that. There we go. So that's just how you can use region automation kind of creatively to automate plugin parameters and make individual clips sort of have their own sound design or their own character. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and on the way out here, I will play the whole track so you can see and hear all of the effects that we added in with region automation.